Turn your heart here for a few moments, man who fears God, and sit with me in the shade of this word that has sustained men since ancient times. I know you carry great ideas, shelved projects, goals that always seem to start tomorrow. And I also know the weariness of pushing the day forward without resolve, of postponing the basics, of feeling the guilt knocking at your chest when the night arrives. Today I will not sell you heroics of productivity, nor cliches and quick formulas. I will guide you along a biblical path, simple and solid, where ambition is a gift placed by God, but it must be put in order so it can be transformed into harvest. If you want to be a wise man, this call is for you. Before any explanation, I want to point to the cornerstone of this encounter, this moment of rest and learning, the principle that will stitch together everything you will hear until the end. It is in the Bible in Proverbs chapter 15, verse 19. Keep this address as an anchor verse that will illuminate our road. I will show you why some routes always seem closed, why certain days are born full of thorns, and how diligence opens the way without exhausting you. Throughout this video, we will interlace substantial biblical readings, practical reflections, and brief moments of prayer. We will pause in communion to breathe, think, and hand over to the Lord what must be uprooted. And as we walk, I will silently ask you, which thorns are you yourself cultivating? Which paths has God already shown you and you keep postponing? From now on, I will speak to you as if I were King Solomon himself, so that your experience of wisdom may be alive, direct, and close. You will feel as if you are by my side, listening to the counsel of King Solomon himself, which never grows old. So allow your mind to become quiet. Stop jumping from one video to another, and let your spirit bow before the word. Let us open the Bible in Proverbs chapter 15, verse 19, and here is the essence of what I wrote. I said that the way of the lazy becomes a tangle of thorns, hard to cross, full of scratches and delays. But the path of the righteous, the trail of those who walk in diligence, is like an open road, clear, prepared for the right step. In these opening words, I just want this image to remain before your eyes, thorns on one side, open road on the other. Before we move forward, I want to raise a prayer for you. Lord God of all wisdom, we now ask you for clarity and repentance. Illuminate where negligence has grown unnoticed. Reveal the hidden thorns in our habits, in our contracts, in our routines. Give us the sincere desire for righteous diligence. Strengthen the will of the man who fears God, who listens to me. Open the paths before him and teach his heart to recognize the time and the way. May your hand uproot what hinders, strengthen what is good, and lead every step in justice and peace. Amen. And if this prayer met your life where it truly is, make a simple gesture that is also a commitment before the Most High. Support now with your like and your subscription to continue receiving counsel that builds up the wise man. It is not just a click, it is a sign that you want to remain at this table, grow in the Word, practice diligence without hurry and without shortcuts. Together we will pave the basics that sustain everything, cut thorns early, and keep open the road that God has already placed before you. Thorns of negligence versus the path of the diligent. Wise man, listen to what I am going to tell you. You were not born lazy. You were not designed by the Creator to live in delay or disorder, nor to remain in conflict between ambition and procrastination. What holds many men today is not laziness itself, but the hidden cost of negligence. Every time something is left without an owner, every task without a deadline, every decision postponed, it is a thorn growing and taking over the road. And when you least realize, walking becomes painful, living becomes tiring, and life always seems to demand more effort than it should. Diligence is not an unbearable burden, nor work without rest. Diligence is daily maintenance. It is taking care of the basics at the right time before the thorn takes root. It is preparing the way today so that tomorrow is open and firm. If you are a man who fears God, understand with me that the Lord did not create you to stumble every day. He called you to walk on an open road, and that road is called diligence with integrity. Let us open the Bible in Proverbs chapter 15, from verse 19 to 24. I wrote that the way of the lazy is like a tangle of thorns, but the path of the righteous is an open road. I also said that the man who hates correction will die amid his choices, but the one who listens to reproof will dwell among the wise. I added that joy brightens the face, but a sorrowful heart crushes the spirit. Wise man, see how everything is connected. Negligence creates tangles, but discipline opens clearings. Laziness kills enthusiasm, but diligence feeds joy. And the fear of the Lord, which is the beginning of wisdom, always leads us to honor. Now turn back with me a few pages to Proverbs chapter 6 from verse 6 to 11. I said, "Observe the ant, you sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. She has no chief, no overseer, no ruler, and yet she prepares her bread in the summer and gathers her food at harvest." I asked, "How long will you lie down? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and your poverty will come like a robber, your need like an armed man." Man who fears God, the lesson is clear. Do not wait for someone to push you. Do not wait for life to force you. The diligent moves before the need. Let us now go to Proverbs chapter 24, from verse 30 to 34. I said that I passed by the field of the lazy, by the vineyard of the man lacking understanding. It was all overgrown with thorns, its surface covered with nettles, and its stone wall broken down. When I saw it, I considered and took instruction. And when I concluded my observation, I repeated the warning I had already written before. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest. And again, poverty will come like a robber, and scarcity like an armed man. Wise man, understand. God inspired me to repeat this same sentence so that you would not underestimate the danger of negligence. Wise man, notice with me, an abandoned field does not remain empty. It fills with thorns. So it is with the life of the negligent. What is not taken care of early turns into ruin, but he who is diligent protects his land, preserves his vineyard, and keeps the walls of his house standing. Very well. Turn back a few more pages with me to Proverbs chapter 26 from verse 13 to 16. I wrote that the sluggard says, "There is a lion in the road. A lion is in the streets. As the door turns on its hinges, so the lazy man on his bed. He buries his hand in the dish but does not even want to bring it back to his mouth. The lazy man is wiser in his own eyes than 7 men who answer sensibly. Man who fears God, see the trap. Negligence disguises itself as excuse, as justification, as self-deception. The sluggard does not take responsibility. He creates stories, and thus he gets lost in his own lie. And now, wise man, open with me Proverbs, chapter 21, from verse 5 to 7. I said that well-thought-out plans lead to abundance, but haste and fraud lead to poverty. I declared that wealth gained by lying vanishes like vapor, and that the violence of the wicked will drag them away because they refuse to practice justice. Here is the contrast. Diligence with planning produces abundance. Negligence with haste or fraud produces ruin. If you want to prosper, do not rush. Build with integrity, with clear plans and daily diligence. Now reflect with me. The invisible cost of negligence is higher than it seems. The thorns that sprout from neglect are interest for delay, unexpected fines, rework that consumes hours, stress that corrodes health, and even reputation that wears down. Man who fears God, understand. Every unpaid bill on time is a thorn. Every promise postponed is a thorn. Every tool not cared for is a thorn. And these thorns hurt more than the simple effort of doing the right thing at the right time. Diligence pulls these thorns out by the root. It creates simple routines, establishes clear deadlines, protects the basics. And do not think that diligence requires complexity. It does not. The secret is the small well done, tidying up while using, putting away after using, reviewing the week with a short checklist. The diligent does not accumulate problems. He solves them at the source. In financial life, this means recording income and expenses, even in a simple notebook. In domestic life, it is washing the dishes right after a meal instead of piling them up. In health, it is stretching 5 minutes a day instead of facing chronic pain later. In spiritual life, it is setting aside a moment of prayer in the morning and another at night instead of allowing the heart to become disorganized. There is still a lie that many believe. They say, "When I am inspired, I will act." But I tell you, wise man, inspiration comes after diligence, not before. Whoever waits to feel like acting gets lost in delays. But whoever acts even in small portions sees inspiration arrive as a reward. It is like the farmer who plants the seed before the rain. He does not wait for the sky to open. He prepares the soil, and the rain comes at the right time. And put this into practice. Translate this truth into your week. Organize blocks of 25 to 50 minutes for what is essential. Define 3 priorities per day. Use alarms to review tasks. Write down the next step of each project. Man who fears God, this is diligence. Do not wait for motivation. Create movement. Inspiration will follow your steps like a shadow that never departs, and each diligent choice today will be an open road for tomorrow. I will continue with you, wise man, to the second half of this teaching. Up to this point, you have seen that the thorns of negligence are real, but you have also realized that diligence opens the road. Now I want to broaden your view to rest, to peace, and to the preventions that sustain the open path. Let us open the Bible in Ecclesiastes chapter 3 from verse 1 to 13. I said that to everything there is a time and a season, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to harvest, a time to weep and a time to laugh. I declared that God made everything beautiful in its time, and also set eternity in the human heart. But man cannot comprehend the work that God does from beginning to end. I concluded that there is nothing better than to rejoice and do good during life, and that every man should eat, drink, and enjoy his work. This is a gift from God. Man who fears God, understand with me. Diligence is not endless running. It is recognizing the right time, planting at the right time, and also enjoying when the season arrives. Now jump with me to Ecclesiastes chapter 9, from verse 10 to 11. I wrote, "Whatever your hand finds to do it with all your strength. For in the realm of the dead where you are going, there is no work, no project, no knowledge, no wisdom." And I added that I saw under the sun that the race is not always to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, nor does food come to the wise. But time and chance happen to them all. Wise man, see the clarity. It is not about running faster. It is about doing diligently what is within your reach today, with all your strength, without waiting for perfect circumstances. Now open with me Ecclesiastes chapter 5 from verse 10 to 20. I wrote that whoever loves money will never be satisfied, and whoever loves abundance will never be content with income. But I added that sweet is the sleep of the laborer, whether he eats little or much, yet the abundance of the rich does not let him sleep. I also said that it is a gift from God that man should eat, drink, and enjoy the good of all his labor. This is his portion. Man who fears God, engrave this in your heart. Diligence is not about seeking money without measure. It is about working with integrity and enjoying in peace what God grants you. The sweet sleep of the worker is worth more than the insomnia of those who chase riches without purpose. And before we move on, leave your like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so yet. This is a powerful sign of those who seek wisdom and growth in the Word of God. And continuing, it is not only my voice that echoes. My father David also wrote, in Psalms chapter 37 from verse 23 to 26, he said that the steps of a man are established by the Lord, and that though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholds him with his hand. He declared, I was young and now am old, yet I have never seen the righteous forsaken or his descendants begging bread. Rather, he is always generous and lends, and his descendants are blessed. Wise man, take hold of this promise. Diligence with righteousness brings stability, inheritance, and lasting provision. And if you turn back to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, from verses 1 to 6, you will hear the voice of Moses. He said, if you fully obey the Lord your God and carefully keep all his commands, the Lord will set you high above all the nations of the earth. Blessed shall you be in the city, and blessed in the field. Blessed shall be the fruit of your womb, the fruit of your land, and the fruit of your livestock. Blessed shall you be when you come in, and blessed when you go out. Man who fears God, diligence in obedience, brings blessing in every step, in the going out and in the coming in the field and in the city, in every area of life. Now stop and reflect with me. Rest is a sign of true diligence. When sleep is sweet, it is because you planted right and took care of the basics. Those who live by shortcuts and improvisations do not sleep. The heart becomes heavy, the mind finds no peace. Therefore, create minimum preventions. Sleep at a consistent time, stretch the body daily, take brief breaks throughout the day, and raise 2 fixed reminders of prayer, one at sunrise and another at sunset. Wise man, peace comes from simple discipline, and I tell you more. Take actions of anticipation. Pull out thorns before they grow. Back up your important information. Plan the week on Sunday night. Organize the next day before going to bed. Take care of your finances diligently. Spend 10 to 15 minutes a week reconciling income and expenses. Record expenses clearly, and never forget the spiritual seal. Begin and end each day before God. Word read, prayer made, gratitude expressed. Man who fears God, this is paving the road with firm bricks. And now, allow us to take a brief pause of communion together. Close your eyes if you can, incline your heart and pray in silence. Ask the Lord, where are thorns sprouting in my life? Where do I need to cut early what could turn into ruin? Place in His hands the delays, the oversights, the pending matters. And if you wish, share your experience in the comments. Your testimony may edify the life of another wise man. Also pray for someone you have never seen, but who is walking alongside you on this road. For in this way we pull out thorns not only from our path, but also from the path of those who walk with us. Ambition without diligence is wind. Diligence orders. Ambition, wise man, I need to tell you something that may hurt, but it brings freedom. Ambition is good. It is a flame that God lit inside you, but when it is not ordered by diligence, it turns into wind. Wind that blows strong for a moment and then quickly dissipates. Many drown in anxiety because they have great desires, but lack the discipline to carry them. I tell you, man who fears God, diligence organizes desire, protects purpose, and gives shape to what once seemed only a dream. It is not about denying ambition, it is about putting it in order. That is what turns desire into harvest. Let us open the Bible in Proverbs chapter 12, verses 24 through 27. I wrote that the diligent hand will rule, but the negligent will be put to forced labor. I declared that the lazy man will not roast his prey, but the precious possession of a man is diligence. Wise man, notice with me. It is not enough to conquer. You must also manage what you conquer. It is useless to hunt and not roast. It is useless to achieve and not take care. Diligence governs because it knows how to maintain and multiply. Negligence becomes enslaved because it cannot preserve what it has already received. Now let us go to Proverbs chapter 13, verse 4, and then verses 11 through 13. I said that the lazy man desires and gets nothing, but the desire of the diligent will be fully satisfied. I also declared that wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase. I added that whoever despises discipline will be ruined, but he who respects the commandment will be rewarded. Man who fears God, see the order of the promise. Desire is only fulfilled when it is sustained by diligence. Quick gain does not last, but constant gain grows. The man who respects the commandment prospers. The one who ignores correction ruins himself. I will now advance to Proverbs chapter 20, verses 4, 13 through 17. I wrote that the lazy will not plow because of winter, but at harvest time he will seek and find nothing. I also declared, do not love sleep, lest you become poor. Open your eyes and you will have plenty of bread. I added that bread gained by fraud may be sweet to a man, but afterward his mouth will be full of gravel. Wise man, see the contrast. He who avoids work in the right season will later beg. He who only loves sleep reaps poverty, and dishonest bread may taste sweet at first, but soon turns bitter. Diligence is planting even in the cold. It is opening your eyes early. It is rejecting dishonest shortcuts. Now let us jump to Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verses 1 through 6. I said, cast your bread upon the waters, for after many days you will find it. Give portions to 7, yes, to 8, for you do not know what disaster may come upon the earth. I added that whoever observes the wind will not sow, and whoever looks at the clouds will not reap. As you do not know the path of the wind, nor how the bones are formed in the womb of a pregnant woman, so you do not know the works of God who makes all things. Therefore, sow your seed in the morning, and in the evening do not let your hands be idle. For you do not know which will succeed, whether this or that, or whether both will do equally well. Man who fears God, understand. Diligence is constancy. So in the morning and in the evening do not stop, because the future belongs to God. And now, wise man, turn with me to Proverbs chapter 22, verse 29. I asked, have you seen a man skilled in his work? He will stand before kings, he will not stand before obscure men. Notice that here I did not speak of haste but of excellence. The diligent does not just fulfill, he fulfills well. He fulfills with quality. This is what places him before great men. The excellence of the diligent hand attracts honor and recognition because it reflects the order of God in human work. Now reflect with me. Ambition needs a schedule. If desire is not placed in time and space, it does not exist. You can say you will read, you will study, you will build. But if it is not in the calendar, it is wind. Man who fears God, open a planner, whether paper or digital, it does not matter. Set fixed blocks for what is essential. 3 blocks of dedication per day can already order your ambition. Always define the visible next step for each project. Review on Sunday night what will be your priority for the week. Diligence is not confused, it is organized. But also see the errors that hinder ambition. Many confuse faith with improvisation. They say, God will provide, and fold their arms without any preparation. But faith without works is dead. Another mistake is trying to gain quickly, seeking shortcuts that promise much and deliver little. Haste is the sister of poverty. There is also the error of pulling all-nighters, believing that making up for delays with marathons of effort will bring results. This is an illusion. Wise man, correct these errors with daily micro-habits. 25 minutes of steady study are worth more than one desperate night. 15 minutes weekly of financial organization are worth more than hours trying to cover losses. 10 minutes of daily tidying preserve your home in order. It is the steady little that multiplies. Now let us turn our hearts to relationships, wise man. Because diligence is not limited to work and finances, it also orders the way you speak, how you care for people, and how you manage the bonds that sustain your life. The tongue, friendship, marriage, agreements. All of this can flourish on an open road or become a painful thorn. Open with me the Song of Songs, chapter 1, verses 5 through 8. I wrote that I am dark but lovely, like the tents of Kedar, like the curtains of Solomon. Do not stare at me because the sun has burned me. My mother's sons were angry with me. They made me caretaker of the vineyards. But my own vineyard I have not kept. A man who fears God understand the metaphor. Many get lost caring for others' vineyards and forget their own house, their own dignity. Diligence is also turning your eyes to what is yours, to your family, to your marriage, to your intimate life with God. It is useless to conquer outside if inside is abandoned. Now let us go to Proverbs chapter 15, verses 1 through 4, and then chapter 16, verses 20 through 24. I wrote that a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. The tongue of the wise adorns knowledge, but the mouth of fools pours out folly. I added that whoever pays attention to the word prospers, and whoever trusts in the Lord is blessed. Wise man, see the depth. Diligence is not only about working early or planning well, it is also about speaking with prudence. A gentle word prevents emotional rework. A rash word destroys in seconds what took years to build. And still in Proverbs chapter 18, verses 20 through 24, I wrote that from the fruit of the mouth, a man's stomach is filled. With the harvest of his lips he is satisfied. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. I added that whoever finds a friend finds treasure, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Man who fears God, understand with me. Diligence is guarding what comes out of your mouth. It is managing faithful friendships. It is protecting relationships as one protects treasures. But I do not speak only of myself. Also hear my father David in Psalm 127, verses 1 and 2. He said, "Unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the guards stand watch in vain. In vain you rise early and stay up late, toiling for food to eat, for he grants sleep to those he loves." Wise man, here is the key. Diligence without the Lord is vanity. It does not matter if you run, it does not matter if you guard, it does not matter if you strive. Without God, everything becomes empty effort. And I want to end this cycle of readings in Proverbs chapter 27, verses 23 through 27. I wrote, "Be diligent to know the state of your flocks, and give careful attention to your herds, for riches do not endure forever, and a crown is not secure for all generations. When the hay is removed and new growth appears, and the grass from the hills is gathered in, the lambs will provide you with clothing and the goats with the price of a field. There will be enough goat's milk for your food, for the food of your household and maintenance for your maidens. Man who fears God, this is applied diligence, to know closely what sustains your life, to take good care of what you already have, not to deceive yourself with the idea that wealth maintains itself. Relationships are like the logistics that sustain all of life, wise man. You cannot advance on the open road of diligence if relationships are full of thorns. The misplaced word becomes a burden. The unfulfilled promise becomes a debt. Daily neglect turns into cracked walls. That is why I tell you, a gentle answer is more powerful than a shout. A small gesture of attention is worth more than a long speech after loss. When the tongue is gentle, the heart finds rest. When communication is prudent, the routine becomes light. Man who fears God, see with me. Marriage is strengthened with daily gestures of diligence. A joint prayer before sleeping, a word of gratitude upon waking, a short conversation in the middle of the day. This prevents small frictions from accumulating into great cracks, and faithful friendship also needs cultivation. A friend is not sustained only by past memories, but by present reminders. A message, a planned meeting, an intercession made in silence. Diligence here is not about throwing big parties, but about watering daily with small drops. And it is not only about what is spoken, but also about what is agreed upon. How many family, marital, and professional conflicts are born because each expected something different from the other? Diligence in aligning expectations prevents painful demands later. When husband and wife pray together, when business partners plan together, when friends speak openly, the road remains open. Wise man, do not underestimate the power of a simple, "Let's agree on this." It is that clear agreement that protects against the wear of demands and resentments. Now look with me at the management of what you already have. Man who fears God, many run after new projects, new achievements, new territories, but leave their current responsibilities abandoned. It is like someone starting to build several houses and not finishing any. The roof of one falls, the wall of another cracks, and nothing stands. True diligence is not always about starting, but about finishing with excellence what has already been entrusted. Therefore I tell you, do not start 10 paths if 5 are still poorly paved. Do not take on new commitments if the old ones are still pending. The wise man knows the state of his flock, knows how many sheep he has, takes care of the field that already gives him sustenance. Wealth does not last forever if it is not managed, and the crown does not pass from generation to generation if there is no care. Management is a test of faithfulness, and whoever is faithful with little will be placed over much. Man who fears God, be intentional. Establish a weekly checklist of bonds and responsibilities. Write down the names that matter: spouse, children, friends, partners. Next to each, note a practical action. Maybe a family dinner, maybe a phone call, maybe a financial adjustment, maybe a visit. This is not cold administration. It is spiritual diligence applied to practical life. It is pulling thorns from relationships before they grow and hurt. And even more, take care of what sustains your home. Review your finances, your accounts, your health, your spirituality. Do a brief sweep every week. Ask yourself, is there something growing as a thorn that can be pulled out now? Wise man, the secret is not the heroic effort of putting out fires, but the humble constancy of preventing them from starting. And that constancy is what guarantees an open road not only for you, but also for all who walk by your side. And if you want to have constancy in continuing to learn with me, make sure you are already subscribed to this channel. Many start the journey but get lost along the way, and know that much has already been shared here that will edify your life. Straight justice, open road, integrity that unlocks cooperation. Wise man, I want to open your eyes to something decisive. The open road does not belong only to the diligent. It is reserved for the righteous. It is no use organizing life into routines and plans if the heart is corrupted. It is no use working hard if the hand stretches toward deceit. It is no use reaping abundance if the root is fraud. Diligence without integrity is just a thorny shortcut. It may seem like a road at first, but it ends in ruin. God-fearing man, understand this with me. Justice shortens the way. Uprightness removes invisible obstacles, and integrity opens doors that no cunning could ever open. Those who walk in justice may face difficulties, but they walk securely, because the Lord Himself establishes their steps. Let's open the Bible in Proverbs chapter 11, verses 1 through 6. I wrote that dishonest scales are an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is His delight. I added that pride brings shame, but wisdom is with the humble. I also said that the integrity of the upright will guide them, but the falseness of the treacherous will destroy them. Riches are worthless in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivers from death. Wise man, notice the contrast. Those who use crooked measures, who deceive, who rely only on wealth, may appear clever, but they fall into their own trap. The righteous, however, walk securely because integrity guides them like a compass that never fails. Now come back with me to Proverbs chapter 16, verses 8 through 11. I said that better is a little with righteousness than great revenues without justice. I also affirmed that the heart of man can plan his way, but the right answer comes from the Lord, and that honest scales and balances belong to the Lord. All the weights in the bag are His work. God-fearing man, see the depth. It is not about the quantity, it is about the quality. It is not how much you gather, but how you gather it. Better little with justice than much without integrity, because much without justice crumbles like sand, but the little with righteousness is multiplied by God's favor. Now, wise man, let's go to Proverbs chapter 28, verses 18 through 20, and also verses 22 through 28. I wrote that whoever walks in integrity will be saved, but the perverse in his ways will suddenly fall. I said that he who tills his land will be satisfied with bread, but he who follows worthless people will be filled with poverty. I also affirmed that a faithful man will abound with blessings, but he who hastens to be rich will not go unpunished. And I added, a man with an evil eye rushes after wealth, and does not know that poverty will come upon him. When the wicked multiply, transgression increases, but the righteous will see their downfall. God-fearing man, notice, haste, fraud, envy, and shortcuts are invisible thorns. Integrity is the open road. I will still read in Proverbs chapter 10, verses 2 through 7. I said that the treasures of wickedness are worthless, but righteousness delivers from death. The Lord will not let the righteous go hungry, but He rejects the craving of the wicked. I added that the lazy hand makes poor, but the diligent hand enriches. He who gathers in summer is a wise son, but he who sleeps in harvest is a son who brings shame. Wise man, see with me. The Lord's blessing enriches, but it is righteousness that preserves that blessing. Dishonest treasures evaporate, but the fruit of integrity remains. And now let's go to Proverbs chapter 14, verses 22 and 23. I wrote that those who devise evil go astray, but mercy and truth belong to those who devise good. I added that in all labor there is profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. God-fearing man, see what I taught. It is not enough to speak, not enough to desire, it is necessary to act with justice. Integrity is the soil that brings forth mercy and truth, and honest work is the seedbed that brings true fruit. There are no shortcuts. There are no speeches that can replace the weight of just practice. Wise man, reflect with me. Integrity shortens roads that cunning only prolongs. When a man walks in uprightness, there are fewer audits, fewer suspicions, fewer distrustful looks. The just word is a key that opens doors effortlessly. The clean name is like a letter of recommendation that goes before you. That is why I tell you, diligence without integrity is wasted effort. You may organize the schedule, take care of the house, plan the finances, but if justice is lacking, everything will be corroded by the invisible thorns of dishonesty. And how to keep this road clean? Right standards for yourself. Yes, God-fearing man. have your personal policy. Set deadlines and meet them. Pledge your word and honor it. Decide that in your life there will be no room for shortcuts, because shortcuts are small thorns that, when they grow, pierce the heart. Create firm marks for yourself, and even if no one sees, the Lord sees. And when the Lord sees uprightness, he establishes steps and gives favor. But there are signs of invisible thorns that cannot be ignored. Wise man, observe if you live with constant fear of being found out. This is the fruit of fraud. See if you are always fixing what you did wrong, always explaining what didn't need to be explained. This is the fruit of lies. Notice if your family or your team are exhausted from putting out fires, always running after what was not done right the first time. This is the fruit of masked negligence. God-fearing man, these thorns are not pulled out with excuses, but with confession. Confession, asking for forgiveness, and a new standard. This is what pulls out the thorns of the soul. From the moment you admit, "I erred, but I will not repeat," heaven opens and the road is smoothed. The heart finds lightness. Others begin to trust again, and the road, once full of thorns, becomes an open road again. Integrity is not never failing. Integrity is cutting off evil at the root when you perceive the failure. It is starting again with firm standards, with clear deadlines, with defined owners. It is aligning life with God's justice, so that nothing hinders the flow of his blessing. Therefore, wise man, do not wait to be exposed. Do not wait for the thorns to cover the whole road. Pull them out early, and see how integrity makes you walk faster, lighter, and safer. The righteous do not need to run. The righteous walk in peace because they know their way is straight before God. Wise man, walk with me now in another set of words I recorded, so that you may see how integrity and purpose intertwine. Open with me the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 2, verses 18 through 26. There I confessed that I hated all my labor under the sun, because I would have to leave it to another after me. And who knows if that one would be wise or foolish? Yet he would have rule over all I had built, and I saw that this too was vanity. But I also declared that there is nothing better for a man than to eat, drink, and enjoy his work, for this is God's gift. God-fearing man, notice, work without purpose is a burden, but enjoying the fruit is the Lord's gift. Integrity in labor is what turns sweat into joy and effort into inheritance. Now let's go to Ecclesiastes, chapter 8, verses 5 and 6. I wrote that whoever keeps the commandment will not experience any evil, and that the wise heart knows the proper time and procedure, for every purpose has its time and judgment. Wise man, understand what I said. It is not just about obeying for the sake of obeying. It is about discerning that every purpose has its season. God's justice orders the times, and integrity keeps us firm even when the moment seems delayed. And if you turn back with me to Proverbs chapter 3, verses 13 through 18, you will see that I wrote, "Blessed is the man who finds wisdom, and the man who gains understanding. For her profit is better than the profit of silver, and her gain better than fine gold. She is a tree of life to those who embrace her, and happy are those who hold her fast." God-fearing man, see the richness of this promise. Wisdom is more than a resource. It is a tree that gives shade, that gives fruit, that offers stability. Those who walk in integrity embrace wisdom and become like a flourishing tree. Now, remember what Moses said in Deuteronomy chapter 25, verses 13 through 16. He commanded, "You shall not have in your bag differing weights, a large and a small. You shall not have in your house differing measures, a large and a small. You shall have a perfect and just weight, a perfect and just measure, that your days may be prolonged in the land the Lord your God gives you. For all who do such things are an abomination to the Lord." Wise man, hear the gravity. Fraud is abomination. Uprightness prolongs life. And I also say more my father David recorded in Psalm 1, verses 1 through 3. "Blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, nor stand in the path of sinners, nor sit in the seat of scoffers. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law he meditates day and night. He shall be like a tree planted by rivers of water, that brings forth its fruit in its season, whose leaf shall not wither, and whatever he does shall prosper." God-fearing man, See how the image of the tree is repeated. Tree of wisdom, tree of justice, roots deep in the word, fruit in the right time, true prosperity. Those who walk in integrity do not fear the wind, because they know they are rooted in the law of the Lord. Wise man, stop for a moment and consider with me. Purpose is like a brake that prevents haste from destroying the road. When you know the why of your journey, you also respect the when and the how. That was what I wrote in Ecclesiastes. There is a time and a procedure for every purpose, and God-fearing man notice. Those who run without purpose live stumbling. Those who have clarity of the why learn to wait for the right season. Integrity sustains this purpose because those who lie or cheat can never wait. Haste pushes them to shortcuts, and shortcuts always lead to thorns. But the righteous, even when it seems delayed, walk securely because they know that God's promise never fails. And see still the metaphor of the tree. I said in Proverbs that wisdom is a tree of life. My father David also compared the righteous to a tree planted by rivers of water. Wise man, think of this. The tree does not bear fruit every day, but it remains firm every day. It grows in silence, its roots go deep, and at the right time it blooms and bears fruit. So it is with the life of the diligent man of integrity. It is not measured in short races, but in constant faithfulness. God-fearing man, this is what I meant to teach. True prosperity is not today's rush, it is tomorrow's ripe fruit. Now keep in your heart this golden rule. Small things well done every day. It is better to review 15 minutes than to let months of chaos accumulate. It is better to pay a bill on time than to run later with interest. It is better to ask forgiveness soon than to let resentment turn into an abyss. Diligence is not a spectacle. It is faithful routine. Integrity is not a single act. It is silent constancy. And to help you, wise man, I propose a weekly protocol. Set aside 10 to 20 minutes, choose a fixed day. Review your schedule, what is pending. Look at your finances. Are thorns growing there? Check your house. Does something need care? Ask yourself about your relationships. Have you given attention to your spouse, your children, your friends, your brothers in faith? And lastly, but never least, assess your spirituality. Have you dedicated time to the Word, to prayer, to gratitude? God-fearing man, this protocol is like pulling out weeds before they take over the garden. It is the silent care that keeps the road open. And now, I want you to join me in a pause of communion. Close your eyes, take a deep breath. Hand over to the Lord the thorns you have identified. Confess what needs to be uprooted. Ask forgiveness for what you let grow. Cry out for strength to establish new standards. Pray silently, wise man, and leave in the comments the verse that impacted you the most so far. Because when God-fearing men unite in prayer, they pull out thorns not only from their own paths, but also from the road of an entire generation. Pave today to walk better tomorrow. Wise man, after this entire journey, I want you to keep a clear summary in your heart. Ambition without diligence is like a field full of thorns. It may promise fruit, but it never delivers. Diligence, however, is the daily, simple, and faithful maintenance that clears the path and turns it into an open road. And integrity is the seal that keeps this road firm. Without justice, diligence is lost. Without diligence, ambition withers. But when you unite justice and diligence, your path is blessed by the Lord. God-fearing man, I call you to assume this identity. Live as a wise man before the Lord. Be practical in work, intentional in purpose, faithful in relationships. Do not wait for great revolutions to begin. Make the small well done your daily practice, because it is in the little that the road opens, and it is in constancy that the path remains. And here I leave you with a single practical step for the next 24 hours. Choose 3 thorns to remove tomorrow morning, 1 financial, perhaps a late bill or a small organization of your expenses, 1 domestic or digital, perhaps tidying up a space in the house or updating passwords and important files, and 1 relational or spiritual, perhaps asking for forgiveness, sending a message of care, or reserving time for prayer. Then prepare a short checklist of 5 items for your day, and at the end of the week do a 15-minute review. Wise man, this simple protocol is an open road for you to live with lightness. And always remember, the path of the righteous is open because the Lord delights in his way. It is not only about human effort, it is about aligning the heart with God's will. It is about walking with integrity, practicing diligence, and remaining firm in the Word. If each word found space in your heart, then practice it. Do not retain only in hearing, but put it into action, because lasting prosperity is born when the God-fearing man listens and obeys.